Hey guys, this is Mike from the Brothers Wisp, and we've got an unboxing here of some of the Ubiquiti Prism Station radios and their antennas. So we'll start with the radio primarily. Currently, it comes with the radio and the antenna packaged in one box, coming with a, I believe they said a 45-degree antenna. But from what I understand, they are, perhaps this would be easier if I dumped it out. They are going to be removing that antenna when they actually start shipping everything. Because there's just so many antennas to choose from, and including one, seems like there's going to be a lot of waste. And so this is kind of convenient. You have a little handle on the box. Nothing else too fancy, bunch of marketing speak. I do realize this unboxing would be a little more smooth if I had somebody else holding the camera. But I don't, so as usual with the Brothers Wisp, you get what you get, and if you don't like it, well, I guess give us some money and maybe we can do something else. But so open up the box, probably wants to be laid down. Getting close and personal with this stuff. So kind of shows you what it looks like, shows you how to use the dedicated radio for the device setup. It does say here Wi-Fi radio for device setup. We kind of assume it's a Wi-Fi radio when it's a 2.4 management radio. But somewhere I had heard that it was Bluetooth. But right there it says it's not. So here's the radio itself. It feels fairly sturdy. It feels a lot better than most of their prior radios. A nice little radome included. I don't know if the RF Elements radomes or horns include radomes or not. So do see a bunch of weep holes here, because I'm still protesting the RF Elements horns for not making the end connector twist port adapter. So you have a nice little level on the back of the radio to kind of show to make sure that your chains are matched, so you don't you don't have one off by 45 degrees or something ridiculous and cause unnecessary loss. Well, apparently you can't take this off with just one hand, so I'll have to set the phone down momentarily, move all my other junk out of the way. Just a moment. Jesus Christ. Oh, yeah. So, there's a little clip right there. Pop that little clip up. Right here, this guy here. Pop that clip up, and then it slides right out. Easy as pie. I'm not even sure how easy pie is. Tastes pretty good. I assume this is for the GPS antenna cable, and then obviously for the Ethernet cable. It does look like, oh, okay, well, that's nice. We have this little retaining clip here. It's some cheap little plastic, but it should perform the task adequately, unless it's not secured very well. There is a little, most of this is hard plastic or perhaps even metal. Here's a little soft plastic snap-in thing. It almost looks intentional and meant for production. But being as though I have this appears to be a beta sample, maybe it's just something in the design process. But having this be a larger, be replaceable, looks like you could probably use a couple different sizes of cables and still maintain your moisture barrier. I know that on the Cambium EPMP 2000 access points, the hole that they include is too small. And I never remember this when I'm on the ground. I remember it when I'm on the tower. So I take my pocket knife or screwdriver or anything I have with me and start whittling away at the hole so I can fit my my tough cable carrier in there. But my predictions bore out. There's the GPS connector. So we have a power button, maybe it's an LED, a reset button, and then the obvious Ethernet. This looks like the mount that comes with any of their recent nano beam, power beam line. Well, I guess nano beam, the power beam is different. So let's see what else we have in the box. Packing materials. Okay. This little box here flips out. This appears to have the PoE injector in it. There's there's the GPS cable. Looks like similar to every other GPS cable that I've gotten with the radio, but in addition to Ubiquity's little boot they like to put on things. I remember on the original rockets and rocket dishes and whatnot, we were told that boot is merely for aesthetics. There's no functional value in it because the connector is already watertight. And it's going inside of here, so I'm not sure it's really necessary, but okay, maybe it's the same connector for all the radios. That makes sense to save on designing different parts. First time I've ever gotten a white cable from Ubiquity, or perhaps even any of them. But the injector itself is not actually in there. Oh, it's right here. With a white injector, 24 volts. There's the plug for the power, LAN and PoE. There's a little box around here, sort of like on Ubiquity's, standard PoE injectors, where you would snap on the air gateway. This is larger, so I assume it's not larger and routed, so I assume it's not the air gateway. Maybe it's for that air cube thing that I saw in the FCC. And then the mounting bracket. Does it say on here? 24 volt, max 3/4 of an amp. Nothing else relevant on there. Here's the little Quickstart guide. I usually just throw these away and use the PDF. Because if there's any renovations or any revisions, you'll see it in the PDF copy. Here we've got some bolts and an Allen key. Here's what it looks like goes on the very back. It feels like it's aluminum. Ubiquity logo. So here's the standard hose clamp if you're just mounting it straight onto a pole. Here is straight on a pole, and you don't require any adjustment. I assume. I haven't read the manual yet, obviously. It's still over there. This looks like it snaps onto here. And I assume that that crunches down when you use that Allen key. And this has, watch where you're putting the camera. This actually has notches to go on a pole to go opposite this guy. Side note, while I manage all this junk here, I'm sure some of you will note the beer I had sitting on the side from New Glarus Brewing Company in Wisconsin, only available in Wisconsin. I'm not sure if it's actually better or there's just that exclusivity that makes it better, but it's pretty good. Got a sampler pack last time I was there. So here we seem to be, this is a rather robust mount compared to what we normally see. These are some fairly large or long bolts. I don't yet know how large a diameter we would accommodate. On some of my towers I have some rather significant pipes up there. 2 7/8 maybe. 2 5/8, somewhere in that area. And so hopefully it'll fit on those. Those certainly aren't universal. So you do see how you have the one that's locked in here and then the sliding one here. So you don't actually have to completely remove the bolts and potentially drop something. You can leave the bolts attached. Apparently I already created 4 gigs worth of video. Moving on. So you should be able to, when the bolts are in, you should be able to slide the bolts around and slide this on and off without having anything come completely free. And that is the bottom of the box. Sure would have been convenient if the phone decided I was done now instead of in between products. But as I said, that is the 45-degree antenna. Here is, just crap out a little bit. Here is the 90-degree antenna with its own little quick start guide. And of course, packing that doesn't just easily slide out. I suppose that's beneficial to the. Oh, here we go. Fancy little drawing here. Disrupt. Camera to focus on that a little better. I don't even know what's going on there. It looks like we have some sort of medieval battle going on. I haven't been paying too much to the Ubiquity culture, so maybe someone can clue us in as to what that is. Set the camera down while I use 2 hands to remove the other antenna. So that 45-degree antenna is, as you can see here, symmetrical. It looks like the RF Elements horns. But here, this guy is a 90. They call this their asymmetrical horn. So that's what that looks like. It's supposed to be a combination of some of the advantages of the symmetrical horn with the traditional sector. It does have a 90-degree azimuth beam width, but only a 45-degree elevation beam width. So this does provide a 3 dB improvement over the RF Elements 90-degree horns. Obviously, it somewhat reduces your ability to cover a wide elevation, but most sectors are only 4 or 8 degrees, somewhere in that area of elevation, and this is 45. So maybe not for the most of down tilt situations, but certainly far more capable. And in the data sheets that I've seen with radiation patterns, it's a very clean pattern, as one would expect from the horn style antenna. The Ubiquity ones do have a little bit, well, this Ubiquity one anyway does have a little bit more side and back lobes than the RF Elements ones, but it's certainly not significant, and certainly a lot better than their traditional sectors. Now, I'm sure there's something in the manual that tells me how to change these antennas while I drop other things, but I don't have them. Or, well, I have them, but I certainly am not going to look at them at the moment. Perhaps I should have, so I looked a little smarter. Looks like here on the radio, let's see if we can get my phone to refocus. We have a square and a triangle lining up with this little push. This is a push button here. Okay, lining up with this little push button. So I'm going to suspect that when I put it on, I line up the triangle with the button, and then I click it over to line up with the square. And I assume that I push the button in to free it and then spin it the opposite direction. But of course, being one man and only 2 arms, I can only do so much on the camera. So I'll set this down. I'm holding the button in, as you saw before, palming the end of the horn, and it is rotating freely. And so that was pretty easy. Here's what the inside of the radio looks like. I don't have a lot of light here, just in my garage. So you can only see so much detail, but you see the little radiators sticking out. I assume this, I'm not sure what exactly this pin over here does. Maybe it's just part of the locking mechanism. But as you can see, when I push this button, the little retainer on the inside there goes down. Looks nothing fancy, just a metal cone and some plastic on the inside. Yeah, this one, yeah, the front of this guy's plastic with all the rest of everything you see being metal, I believe aluminum. So now I'm going to try to snap this guy on. What I would assume that you is, see if I can find where they are. So you see there's the weep holes on the asymmetrical sector. So what you do is here is the radio, here is the antenna. You want the weep holes on the bottom. What's the bottom? That's the one with the button and with where your cables come out of. And see on there, you have the square and the triangle. Let's line up the triangle with the button. Of course, this is difficult. I'm watching it through the phone. Line those up. There's a little bit of a spring there. I'm guessing that's what that. I'm guessing that's what that little pin there does. This provides a little bit of feedback. Those lined up, triangle and button, and then rotate. I'll need to use 2 hands for this. Sorry, camera. Rotate that. Wasn't too difficult. And I heard a click, and now square is lined up with button. This does not turn when it's clicked in, so you're not, your channel's not going to fall off. You do have to press this button down that's next to these 2 other Wii poles. Press this button down and rotate. And again, it doesn't really work well when I'm holding the phone. But I may have missed something, but that's the unboxing mostly and assembly of the Prism Station AC with a 40 or with a 90-degree antenna. I believe I mentioned this earlier, but in case I didn't, I do hear that in the beta versions they did come with the 45-degree antennas, but when they go full production, they will switch those out and just have it be just the radio, because people are going to have a lot of these 45-degree antennas just laying around if they're switching to I think the other options are 60 and 30. I'm not certain. I know there's 2 other ones. So there's a lot of waste, both in the cost and materials, things just laying around with those. So there's that, and I guess have fun.